What is the best sleeping bag to buy? Well, if you only plan to go mostly in the summertime, a 45-degree bag should be plenty. But if you want to extend your session into the spring and fall, it's best to get a 20-degree bag. But what if someday you want to go in the winter too, and you only have budget for one bag? Enter the 3-in-1 bag, the outdoor industry's one-stop solution for 4-season sleeping. Let's check it out. Late last fall, I published a video called One Bag to Rule Them All, where I claimed that the North Face One Bag was the one bag that did everything except for one thing really well. Based on the design from the military's modular sleep system, the One Bag uses layering to achieve 3 separate temperature ratings in one clever and reasonably affordable design. The only problem is, with all of its zippers and synthetic insulation, it's kind of heavy, and eliminating layers doesn't really save you weight like you would expect. That, and they lied about the lower temperature rating. But it's still a really cool design with a lot of potential, which is why I wanted to check out the new Big Agnes Lone Ranger Ultralight 3-in-1 sleep system. Man, that's a long name. The new 3-in-1 system makes some substantial improvements over the One Bag, but still falls short in a couple of really important areas. So today I want to talk about these 2 potentially revolutionary sleeping bag designs. And make sure you stick around to the end, where I'll tell you how you can basically replicate this design on your own at home with no special skills. Let's check it out. The thing that makes both of these bags special is their layering system. The North Face uses a common thin synthetic base that can switch out different insulating layers to create a 40-degree, 20-degree, and a combined 5-degree sleeping bag. The Lone Ranger uses the same layering idea, but modifies it a bit. Instead of a common base, they created this sheet-like attachment that goes over your sleeping pad, a lot like the Zenbivvy sheet. But what's really cool about the Big Agnes design is that it's adjustable to different pad sizes. So you can attach it to both a 25-inch pad or a 20-inch pad simply by tightening the drawstring. Sewn on the top of the sheet is a quilt-like down blanket that is rated to 45 degrees, which is perfect for summer nights in the mountains. But the system also comes with this completely separate 20-degree sleeping bag that will work on its own. Or you can put it inside the 45-degree bed to create a 0-degree system. It's the versatility of these 2 sleep systems that I think is going to revolutionize sleep systems. Before, you either had to buy 3 different bags or quilts, or if you were on a budget like most people, you had to choose one temp rating and either make it work in other conditions or limit yourself to one specific temperature range. This new trend makes a wider range of temperatures more accessible and more comfortable. And I think you're going to see more and more brands coming out with their own 3-in-1 systems. While both these designs are fairly innovative, even if the military did come up with the idea first, there are some drawbacks. The first is the North Face system is fairly heavy. To me, the main benefit of a modular system like this is that as you shed layers, you should be able to shed a lot of weight also. The way that the North Face designed their bag, you have to carry some of the heaviest components with you no matter what configuration you have it in. Even in its lightest 40-degree configuration, you are still carrying around more than 2 pounds because their design not only uses synthetic insulation, which is heavier than down, but you are carrying the zippers for the 20-degree layer that you're not even going to use. 2 pounds is pretty heavy for a 40-degree bag. To give you an idea, I have both 20 and 15-degree systems that weigh less than 2 pounds. Big Agnes did a much better job here by using lightweight down in all their layers and eliminating the back insulation in the 40-degree configuration. Big Agnes knows that insulation on your back is pointless weight and bulk because once you flatten the insulation by laying on it, it can't keep you warm anymore. So when you're using just the 45-degree layer, you are only carrying about 1¼ pounds compared to the North Face One Bag that is over 2 pounds in its lightest configuration. Now, I could only get my hands on the long version of the Big Agnes 3-in-1 system, which is naturally going to be heavier than the regular version. So all these weights will be slightly heavier than the standard 3-in-1 system. The 20-degree bag included with the Big Agnes system weighs less than 2 pounds on its own, where the One Bag from North Face weighs a little more than 2.5 pounds in 20-degree mode. In its warmest configuration of 0 degrees for Big Agnes, 5 for North Face, the Big Agnes comes in at 3¼ pounds and North Face is a little over 3½ pounds. And again, I have the long version of the Big Agnes, but the regular North Face. So if I can compare both regular sizes, the difference would be even greater. The other thing the Big Agnes did is create 2 layers that can also serve as standalone sleeping bags, which means you could loan the top layer out to a friend and the bottom layer is still completely functional, whereas the North Face system can only be used one at a time. But Big Agnes didn't get everything right. For one, the ultralight 0 degree system that I have is close to $650 for the whole thing. That's over twice the price of the North Face one bag. The whole reason this would be attractive to anyone is because you don't have to buy multiple bags for different situations. But for the same cost as the Lone Ranger Ultralight 3-in-1, you could buy 2 or more sleeping bags with very little compromise. Now, Big Agnes has multiple options here, including a 15-degree ultralight system, a non-ultralight 3-in-1 system, and a women's specific 3-in-1 system that all have different prices. But unfortunately, I was only able to get my hands on this one, the long ultralight 0 degree system. Now, another problem with both the North Face and the Big Agnes systems is their temperature ratings. The North Face has ISO certified their temperature ratings in all 3 configurations, which means you can be fairly confident how this bag is going to perform in different situations. Big Agnes, on the other hand, only certified their system in the coldest configuration. So you can have the same confidence in the coldest temperatures, but if you want to use the 20-degree bag by itself or the 45-degree system by itself, you're relying on Big Agnes' judgment as to whether or not these can really handle those temperatures. And the only reason I bring this up is because both Big Agnes and the North Face are exaggerating their temperatures a little bit by saying that these are 0 and 5-degree bags respectively, when their own published ISO certificate says that the Big Agnes will feel cold at 4 degrees, while the North Face will feel cold at 8. Now, if I'm being honest, it's a little more complicated than that, but I don't have time to get into it in this video. But for more information, check out my video all about how gear companies are lying about their temperature ratings that I will have linked in the description below. That video talks about how you can measure loft on your own at home to get a better idea of whether or not a temp rating is accurate. But it doesn't take into account things like sewn through or box baffle construction, and I mention this because the top layer of the Big Agnes system is a sewn through design that can create cold spots even with adequate insulation. It's typically not a problem with summer bags like the 45-degree temp rating on the top layer of the Big Agnes, but without a proper ISO rating on the top layer, it's hard to know for sure. Okay, now, even though I think these designs are cool, and you will probably see more and more brands coming out with designs like this, you don't have to buy one of these systems to take advantage of this design. In fact, people have been layering quilts for years to get better temp ratings. If you buy a 20-degree quilt and a 40-degree quilt, which you could easily do for the same cost of the Big Agnes system, you would not only have 2 great quilts that perform well in their respective temperatures, but you can layer those quilts to get even more warm. In fact, a 20-degree and a 40-degree quilt layered will insulate down to about -10 degrees. Or if you had 2 20-degree quilts, you could layer them to go to about -20 degrees Fahrenheit. In fact, I'll put a link in the description to a chart that will tell you approximately how cold you can get with 2 layered temp ratings. But there's a few things you need to know if you're going to do this. For one, don't try this with sleeping bags. The narrow confines of a bag will crush the insulation of the inner bag, reducing its warmth. 2, make sure that you have a sleeping pad that can handle the same cold as your 2 combined quilts. And 3, it'll help if you order the quilt that you're going to be putting on top a little bit wider so that you can make sure it'll cover all the way to the edge of the bottom quilt. But if you keep those things in mind, you can essentially get the same benefits of these 3-in-1 designs in a much more versatile setup. But what do you think? Are these revolutionary designs? Drop me a comment and let me know. Be sure to check out this video all about the North Face one bag, and check out this video about how gear companies are lying about their temp ratings. Like, subscribe, and do all those other things, and as always, thanks for watching. Based on design from the military's modular sleep system,